Hey guys, what's good? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing WrestleMania predictions, which I don't know how hard I'm going to go on these predictions. Some of them we're kind of just talking about the different avenues and options that they have. I'll let you know what I think is most probable, um, and I will make some decisions here that are a little tricky to make, but the best I can with the limited information we have so far. But there's some big questions right now around WrestleMania. Reports that Bad Bunny might be returning to the WWE, quote, sooner rather than later is crazy. Um, Questions about Bianca Belair, if she's going to be able to come back. And the surprisingly, the biggest question to answer, the big main event of night two, that's the answer that we have. That's the only answer we have, is the biggest potential question, right? Between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. But we're going to talk about all of it as we go through my WrestleMania Vegas, WrestleMania 42 predictions, a little too early in advance. But let's start off here with the first one, a more obvious choice to go with, and it's Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. This one seems clear cut. They've been building to it for months, and I think we're going to continue to see that build on TV pretty soon. Maybe as soon as Monday Night Raw on February 9th. I'm recording this before that episode. This is not being posted until after that episode, so we'll know by now if it starts tonight, pretty much. As of right now, I don't know. I would assume no. I think tonight Natalia versus Maxine Dupree are facing off one-on-one, so we'll have to go back and see what happens. But I think eventually we'll see a championship match with Becky and Natty in some capacity, and AJ Lee could return there. Maybe at Elimination Chamber we'll see that go down, or just on a random Raw building to WrestleMania. As we get into this next level of the AJ Lee Becky Lynch feud, I do think it'll be for the Intercontinental Championship, but that's not a guarantee. There's a chance that Natalia or Maxine Dupree take this title. Maxine Dupree, less of a chance, but that storyline between the two of them could definitely be helped by the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know if a match between those two would get onto WrestleMania. Maybe if they did kickoff show matches again, that would be a good kickoff show match that would definitely get some attention. But they don't do that anymore, so I think we're going to see the Intercontinental Championship stay on Becky Lynch. But again, I'm not certain enough to make that claim 100% definitively, so we're including the possibility of Natalia and Maxine Dupree taking that title over to their story as they continue it. Next up, perhaps the biggest question we have is what Gunther is going to do at WrestleMania. He is the career killer. It seems like the next step for him has to be killing a career or going on to WrestleMania and winning a world championship, which we already know the answer for CM Punk. And the WWE Championship seems very crowded already, so I don't see Gunther going in either of those directions, which means he needs a career to kill. I think there are two main options, one better than the other, one more likely than the other, but both potential matches. Hear me out. Randy Orton versus Gunther is something that they could call back on, because they had that match in Saudi Arabia and it was great. Ended with a roll-up victory for Gunther, I believe. So there's definitely potential there. Also, I don't know what else Randy's going to do at WrestleMania this year if he's not going to be facing Jacob Fatu, which I didn't predict in this. You'll see later what I ended up predicting for Jacob Fatu. I think the more likely option, though, for Gunther is Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. He's already starting the story with Dragon Lee as a transition from AJ, and I think the next step to that being Rey Mysterio makes a lot of sense. So I think that Gunther versus Rey Mysterio is probable at WrestleMania. The only thing is, I'd be surprised if Rey Mysterio didn't go out facing his son, facing Dominic Mysterio, giving his son that moment. But they also already have had a lot of interactions, so I wouldn't be surprised either if they decide to pivot and Rey decides to end his career on a separate note from Dominic. Next up, the WWE Championship. It seems pretty clear that it's going to be Drew versus Cody. Some people seem to think that Cody's going to win the title back before WrestleMania, but I don't think that's going to be the case. It seems like that's not the direction they're going in. Of course, we know that Triple H has changed his mind many times on the direction of this year's WrestleMania, so he could change it again. He could have changed it, and I don't know. A million things could happen between then and now, but the whole point of this is predicting it a little too early. So I'm going to make my official prediction that we're getting a triple threat with Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre, and Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. I personally don't think that this should main event night one. It could. I just think maybe Jacob Fatu's a little young. I think there's people that deserve it maybe a little bit more. Maybe not young, but young to the game of being on live TV SmackDown, right? And I think Drew versus Cody also. It's a story. it's not as exciting as some other stuff. I think some other stories I can get there, but this is definitely WrestleMania worthy. I'd love to see this matchup. Maybe put a stipulation on it, and I think the three of them would have a great match. I think also this way you could have Drew retain if you want to continue that Drew story, and pin Jacob Fatu instead of pinning Cody. You also could then have Cody pin Drew or Jacob to just pick up where he left off and continue into the new year. The new season of WWE post WrestleMania 42 with Cody Rhodes being the WWE champion. Lots of different avenues here, but this is my official prediction, is that right now is that we're going to get this triple threat. Next up, this seems to be the answer right now. Tiffany Stratton qualified for Elimination Chamber. She's my pick to win the thing and face Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. I do think that Jade is going to hold this title until WrestleMania. She has that match with Jordynne Grace, I believe, just in a couple days on SmackDown. But I don't see her losing the championship anytime soon, even though it's her first defense in a while. I think she's going to hold on to it. The bigger question here really is, do we get Bianca Belair for WrestleMania? I think if it were to happen, it has to happen now. It can't take much longer because the avenue to face Jade Cargill is to win the Elimination Chamber. So Bianca Belair would have to come back, qualify for the Chamber, and win it to then face Jade Cargill. And she's not even being mentioned on TV at the moment. Tiffany Stratton is being built right now as the next number one contender in that Chamber match. So that's why my official prediction is Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. But if Bianca Belair is ready, everyone keeps saying this, they have to go Jade Bianca. So we'll see what happens. As of right now, though, my official prediction is going back Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. But you never know. Now, this one is also very interesting. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather. Stephanie Vaquer, I believe, will hold her championship to WrestleMania. However, it's not a guarantee. I think a lot of people thought that Raquel Rodriguez was going to beat Stephanie Vaquer. I did not. I thought that Stephanie Vaquer would retain, maybe with Liv shenanigans, and I was correct. I hate the trope of having a champion win the title and hold it for the off season when there aren't a lot of eyes on it, and then once Rumble starts and the Road to WrestleMania starts, they lose their title so that it can go to a bigger star to have a different story. So I didn't think they'd be doing that with Stephanie because I don't think that Raquel Rodriguez is necessarily a bigger star than Stephanie. So I figured they would keep it on her until this story. I think right now the most probable option is probably a triple threat between these three women. But I will say, I think that I prefer a singles match between Stephanie and Liv, with Raquel just being the story to get us there. Maybe some involvement in the match, but I just think that Stephanie and Liv could put on such a great match if given the time. Both phenomenal wrestlers, I think. That's just the match that I want to see. Stephanie versus Liv, one-on-one in the ring at WrestleMania. However, I don't think it's that main event. I said earlier I don't think that it should be Drew, Cody, and Jacob. I also don't think it should be this matchup. This next matchup is the one that I think should main event night one, if they choose to do it, and it's the Tag Team Championships. I think that Rhea Ripley and Io Sky are going to be staying together, keeping those titles to WrestleMania. It seems they're defending them a lot. It's not a sure thing that this is going to happen, that they're going to keep the titles, that they won't turn on each other. But my prediction is that they will stay together. I think that WWE sees a lot of money in them together, and they're very cute together. There aren't any hints at them breaking up anytime soon. So I think that they will stay together. And the one tag team that has the star power to match and to main event tonight of WrestleMania, as well as a team that they've been keeping them away from. They've been keeping them very separate since War Games, where they worked together, mind you, is Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss. And I think that this could completely main event night one of WrestleMania for the Tag Team Championships. This is the biggest match that you can do, men or women, besides CM Punk and Roman Reigns in their singles match. So this is my choice. In the perfect world, it'll main event night one. I don't know if it's going to happen under the current circumstances of how Triple H books the woman, how these opportunities are given to the woman. But I think on paper, this is the match that they should go with for WrestleMania main event. I mean, Rhea Ripley is just the face of this company. It's shocking that she hasn't main evented a WrestleMania yet. Charlotte Flair also, you can never say bet against Charlotte Flair. She's definitely a main eventer. At any opportunity that they can give her, it's going to feel right because it's Charlotte Flair. Io Sky, the workhorse of the division, deserves it more than anyone. And Alexa Bliss, since she returned at last year's Royal Rumble with that pop, I mean, just proving that she's just a fan favorite with a massive following. And I think there's one thing that they can do to ensure that this is WrestleMania main event worthy, and that would be giving it the stipulation of tables, ladders, and chairs. I don't know if this is going to happen. My official prediction is just Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus Charlexa, right? But in a perfect world, if I was in charge, I would have the four of them go out there and have a tables, ladders, and chairs match in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1. I think this would just be phenomenal. It's my dream match for WrestleMania this year for sure. Moving over to the men's tag team division, I think a dream match should happen. Again, these two led us through the 2010s in the tag team division, making people fight for the tag team division, hoping that they get more time. They defined the style of tag team wrestling that we see all over WWE today. The Usos and the New Day. I think this is what they're currently building to on Monday Night Raw. Maybe that'll happen tonight on Raw. Of course, again, this is airing after that, so you'll know. I don't. If they continue those building blocks after the Alpha Academy defense with the Usos. But this is my official matchup for WrestleMania, my official prediction, that it'll be the Usos versus the New Day reigniting their feud, this time with the Usos being babyface and the New Day being heel, which I think will be very interesting to delve into. There is a caveat, however, and that's the Vision. I could see the Vision being included in this match in some capacity. Any two of the three, Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, or Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory and Bronson Reed the least likely pairing, most likely. We'll see Logan Paul need his WrestleMania match, and he could work in here, have some crazy spot, and potentially win the tag team championships. I wouldn't hate the Vision holding on to those, but I think, yeah, there's definitely, you got to pay attention to that team being involved. But my official prediction and what my heart wants is the Usos and the New Day reignited. Next up, talking about the Vision, Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. This is already being announced as a match that is planned for WrestleMania, so it's not too bold of me to predict it officially. There is, however, the other avenue, which I think I just want to mention, is that if Seth Rollins is somehow not ready for WrestleMania, Braun Breaker does have another match for WrestleMania, because Braun Breaker is having a match at WrestleMania, and it could be Logan Paul. You could see Logan Paul here against Braun Breaker. It kind of looks like Logan Paul under the mask in Saudi Arabia. I think they're going to say it was Seth, but on the off chance that Seth isn't ready, they could say that was Logan Paul, and they could do Logan Paul versus Braun Breaker at WrestleMania. They love to give Logan Paul big singles marquee matches at WrestleMania, or at least big marquee matches where he's kind of fighting for himself. So I think this is more likely for Logan than the tag team match, because in some capacity, Logan, I think, is going to have his singles match at WrestleMania. You know how they love that. But we will move on from this for now. Last couple matches here. This one is a little more out there. I think we'll see some sort of women's tag team showcase. I think Bayley and Lyra have been putting in the work. I think the Bella Twins, they came back. They're expecting a WrestleMania match. And I think this is the best way also to get the Women's United States Championship on the card. Even if it's not being defended directly, I think Julia and Kiana James could be a great tag team. Of course, you could also see Nia Jackson, Lash Legend involved in this, Asuka and Kairi Sane involved in this. I think Lash and Nia are kind of getting their big moment on SmackDown this Friday. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, you could add them to make this a fatal four-way. The Kabuki Warriors, however, I don't think are going to last that long, because I think Asuka and Kairi Sane, hopefully tonight on Raw, will butt heads, and we'll see the beginning of their implosion. You guys know, again, since you've watched Monday Night Raw yesterday, I'm recording this before that, so I don't know. I hope that is the case, but I think that they're probably the least likely team to be in this. But the women's tag team division is just so stacked, so I think you can totally do some sort of women's tag team showcase. And in a perfect world, you put this maybe on night 2, so you know who the winners of night 1 are. And then you can say, oh, on Raw, they'll get a championship match or whatever it may be. I think that's definitely the way to go with the women's tag team division. Next up, we already know about this, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns main eventing WrestleMania Night 2. It's confirmed. It's for the championship. The only prediction to make now is who's going to win, which I'm not sure of quite yet, so I'm going to withhold my prediction on that until we have the full card and we do our official video closer to WrestleMania. However, there is a group of people on Twitter that think that Finn Balor might take the title off of CM Punk and make it a triple threat. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think there is a close to 0% chance of that happening. However, we can talk about what is more likely for Finn Balor at WrestleMania, and that's a match with Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. This seems like the most obvious path forward for Finn and for Dom when he's ready to come back. For some reason, they haven't stripped Dom of that Intercontinental Championship, so in my belief, that means that they have a storyline for him. This seems to be the one, or else they would have just stripped him of the title a month ago and given it to someone else to tell a different story going into Mania. So they must be confident that Dominic will be back for WrestleMania and that this story will be a hit for them when they move forward. There is, however, a bigger potential story for Dominic Mysterio, a larger reason why they haven't stripped him of the title, potentially, and it's this rumor going around that Bad Bunny is returning to wrestling sooner rather than later. And if that's the case, you cannot count out the fact that Bad Bunny can come back and face Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania, maybe a triple threat with Finn Balor. Of course, I had to put Rey here because the last time Bad Bunny was in WWE, he feuded with Damian Priest, of course, but then at WrestleMania, it was Rey Mysterio who he helped defeat Dominic Mysterio. So you could totally see some sort of story with Rey being involved. But if Bad Bunny comes back to wrestling, this is where he's going to come back. He's going to come back in some capacity to be involved in this match. I'll make that prediction right now. Next up, we have, unfortunately, to talk about Brock Lesnar, who, I mean, anything could happen at any given moment. One Twitter thread goes viral, and he's done, right? That's kind of the point where he's at right now. But at the moment, they don't seem to have any problem using him, and they most likely will. Maybe for his last WrestleMania, because I think that Gunther will be the career killer for him. And is a likely opportunity for Gunther versus Brock at WrestleMania this year. I could have talked about it earlier. I decided not to. But instead, there's the opportunity that it's going to be Oba Femi. I think those are your two main options for Brock Lesnar, Oba Femi or Gunther. I do think my official prediction is going to be with Oba Femi. They had their interaction in the Rumble. Oba Femi looked great in the Rumble before getting eliminated by him. I'd love to see Oba Femi defeat Brock Lesnar, and then Brock can kind of go away until he comes back for a SummerSlam retirement match where Gunther beats him there. Either way, I think that Brock is wrapping up his time in the WWE, and hopefully he is aware that he should be helping to build new stars on his way out, and no one better for that role than Oba Femi right now, as they continue to give him squash matches on the way to WrestleMania, and hopefully this is what we see. If Brock's going to be there, he should at least be putting over younger talent, unlike what he did in the Rumble, so fingers crossed for that. And lastly, the last match I want to talk about is the United States Championship on the men's side. And I think we're going to be getting some combination of these four men: Carmelo Hayes, Sami Zayn, Ilya Dragunov, and Trick Williams. Obviously, there's the history with Carmelo, Trick, and Ilya in NXT, specifically Carmelo and Trick, but Ilya was always around there having great matches with those three. And then Sami Zayn's kind of was the ignition for all of this United States Championship hype and drama in the SmackDown division. He doesn't have anything else really to do at WrestleMania since losing to Drew. He seems kind of broken right now on SmackDown, so maybe he'll get some different story going into WrestleMania and have something else to do. But as of right now, my official prediction for Sami Zayn is that he'll be involved in some sort of multi-man match for the United States Championship. Maybe a ladder match if you don't do TLC with the women's tag teams. I could definitely see a ladder match. But my official prediction for this is some capacity of these four men. You could throw in Shinsuke. You could throw in The Miz. Just some sort of multi-man match for that United States Championship. I originally was thinking as well that Carmelo could have an open challenge at WrestleMania that Oba Femi answers to take the championship off of him. But I think Oba's probably moving towards Brock. So my official prediction is this match in some capacity, some multi-man match, including these men at WrestleMania. So that's my WrestleMania 42, WrestleMania Vegas predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments. I made a lot of, I think, out there predictions that I'm comfortable with, but we talked in general about a lot of different options. The thing I'm least confident on is Randy Orton. I really don't know where to go forward with him. I wasn't able to make a strict prediction about him. There's obviously the route where he could face Jacob Fatu if he's revealed as his attacker, separately of Drew and Cody. He could also face Cody separately for the title or not for the title, while Drew faces Jacob one-on-one. But I'm not confident enough in any of that, and to be honest, I really want to see Drew, Cody, and Jacob in a triple threat. So I'm not sure where Randy Orton goes from here. So if you have any ideas for Randy Orton at WrestleMania 42, put them in the comments, because I don't know. Maybe he'll just do another open challenge this year. Who knows? But yeah, let me know all your thoughts. These are my official predictions for now. We can come back a little closer to WrestleMania and see if they're making sense with the direction that they're going in. I'm probably awfully wrong about a lot of this. But for now, I'll leave it at there. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.